leg press. Julio has his feet shoulder width apart. He has his knees in line with his second and third toe, and he's making sure that his knees don't buckle in. When he presses all the way up, he's not doing a hard lock where he's completely locking out and extending it. He's doing a soft lock. This is a little safer so you don't blow your leg out. I have him supersetting his leg press with 4-way calf raises. The first way is his feet are shoulder width apart. He's holding plates on his sides, keeping his back straight, his core tight. He's doing 15 raises with his feet shoulder width apart. And then he's turning his toes out and his heels together. And he's going to do 15 calf raises like this. The third way is he's going to put his toes together and do 15 up that way. That works the outside of the calf and the peroneus longus muscle. Then the final calf raise, which is number 4, that's why we call it 4-way, is his feet are going to be completely together, his toes, his heels, everything completely together, and he's going to pulse it without his heels touching the ground. It's basically a burnout for your calf, and it actually gets down into your soleus muscle. So that would be the 4th way, and then after that you're done with the entire 4-way calves. V crunches on the bench. This is really good for your hip flexors and your lower core, which is your local core. So he's got his hands close to his glutes, and he's opening up as much as he can and then crunching all the way up and then opening back up again. You are going to feel this in your hip flexors. This is really good to pair with leg day. So your feet are shoulder width apart. You're gonna place the bar on your traps. Now move your feet forward. There you go. Up onto your toes. Good. Now keeping your knees in line with your toes, go ahead and squat as low as you can. So this is a Smith machine. This is a toe low squat. So he's actually up onto his toes the entire time. He has no weight. You keep this lightweight. The reason why we're doing certain exercises like this is because he's working on his stability and strength training. So he has very tight muscles and he's a little unstable. So we're starting out with ranges of motion that you would use in everyday life. So you bend down to pick something up. He does a lot of wrestling and stuff, so he has to be able to lock people in with his legs, maneuver in certain ways. And he's pretty weak in his calves, so we have him up on his toes so he has calf activation so that he's getting more muscle training out of this exercise. So stability, calves, quads, glutes, all that. He's using his core, he's using his back. Great exercise. Then we have him supersetting this one with more abs. These are decline abs. On the decline abs, he hooks his feet under the mat. He comes all the way down to where his back is all the way down onto the bench. And then he's coming up and tapping the bar. This is also really good for his hip flexors. A lot of people don't understand that we have 3 parts that make up our core. We have our local, our global, and our movement system. All of that is what makes up our core. So his lower core is really weak because his lower body is really weak, and that's what we're trying to improve. So I have him doing a lot of hip flexor, local movement, the lower core exercises. This one's really good. You're gonna feel it in your hip flexors and your quads. This machine is called seated leg curl. I call them hamstring curls. He has his back against the mat and his butt is also supposed to be all the way back against the mat. He comes all the way up and then pulls it all the way down. So when he's coming up, he's actually slowing against the resistance. His feet are flexed and they're shoulder width apart. Leg extension machine. His back is against the mat. So there's gonna be an adjuster right here where you move it back or forward. His back is against the mat to where his knees are in line with the pivot point right here on the machine. He comes all the way back and all the way up for 5. We call this 3-way leg extensions. So his feet are shoulder width apart and they're flexed. He's coming up for 5 and then he's gonna switch his feet to where his heels press, and then he comes all the way up and back down for another 5. He's doing a total of 15 reps, but I call them 3-way leg extensions because we're doing a rotation of the feet after each 5. When he puts his feet out like this, he's going to feel it in his vastus medius, which is right here. So you have 4 muscles, which is why they're called quads. You have your rectus femoris and your vastus intermedius, which are the 2 that go in the center. You're gonna feel that when your feet are shoulder width apart and flexed. When you put your toes out, your heels together, you're gonna feel it in the inside, which is your vastus medius. Now he's rotating his toes to touch and his heels out. When he comes up on these, he's going to feel it in his vastus lateralis, which is actually the muscle that runs on the outside of his quad. So the minor tweaking of the feet is going to change the pull of the muscle. You're still working all 4 of them, but we're kind of getting more intense on specific ones.